Okay. So yesterday's activity was looking at astrology and astronomy, the connection between the two. So today I want to look at the African Zodiac. So when we talk about constellations like Leo or Sagittarius, we're talking about Greek constellations. So the origin of these constellations was with ancient Greece. They were the ones that named them, that said that this is what they look like and that stuff. So they're the ones that we still find in the newspapers. If you go to your horoscope or something like that, what you're looking at is the Greek created constellations and zodiac signs. So when we talk about the sun's movement through the heavens, we talk about it in terms of the Greek constellations. But the Greeks and the Europeans in general, if you want to generalize there, are not the only people that looked up to the sky and saw images and named constellations. Every culture did. And they obviously had different ones. So the Greeks came from their religion. So the names, that kind of stuff is largely based on their belief system. So every different culture is going to look at the sky and see different images based on their belief system. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the African zodiac. So there is actually its own zodiac signs. So we want to look at the constellations that they've created. So the warm up is just a reading that looks at what the African zodiac is. So you click on that, and it's an article that goes through the different constellations in the African zodiac. So these are your African astrology signs. There's the reading for the warm up. So then for the presentation, we're going to look at the African zodiac versus the Western zodiac. So you're going to start by doing some research on the zodiac of your chosen African culture. So remember in the beginning, you guys focused on your own unique African culture. So not all of you are doing the same culture. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at what their constellations, what their zodiac signs are. So this is what you'll base your presentation on. So for the comparison, we'll use the traditional Greek zodiac that we find in the newspapers and we talk about all the time. So this is the easy one to find. So you just have to look it up. Look up Greek zodiac, go to Google, and it will give you all the Greek zodiac signs. So their zodiac are the 12 main constellations. There are hundreds of different Greek constellations in the sky. So when we talk about the zodiac, we're talking about 12 of those 100. So we're not focused on all of the obscure ones. So here's some questions to consider as you're comparing the two. So, what was the thinking behind the chosen characters for each culture? So, when they looked up to the sky, they saw images. Where did those images come from? Like, what was their context for that? So, were these important characters to them? Did they have material, cultural, or religious significance? What role did patterns play in this human interpretation of the natural world? So, remember, I always try to base my activities on patterns. So that's our human brain's greatest attribute, is the recognition of patterns in everything that it sees. So next, what does the difference in chosen characters say to you about what the people who chose them value? So they chose these things because these are things that they valued. They had meaning to them. So when you look at the different characters, what do you think that tells you about what those cultures valued? So how did the zodiac impact the two different cultures? So was it important to the societies, or was it something more akin to our astrology column in the newspaper? Something that a few people look at seriously, but most dismiss or ignore entirely. So that's kind of what we were looking at yesterday with the debate between those two groups. So the astrologers, if you're an astrologer, those people that really get into the horoscope, they find great meaning in that. Like, it's important to their lives. The astronomers, on the other hand, just dismiss it completely. They don't. They think it's just a bunch of garbage, and it's not something that they think at all about. It doesn't impact their life at all. So they don't make decisions in their lives based on astrology, their horoscope, or that kind of stuff. But there are people that do. So people that really believe in that and base a lot of their lives around it. People that they're friends with, things that they do, places that they go. It's to an extent governed by astrology, by based on what their horoscope says or what their star sign, what's going on with their star sign at that particular date of the year. So then lastly, what is your African zodiac sign? So I bet you can tell me what your what your Greek zodiac sign is. So for example, I'm a Leo. I don't care at all about astrology, but I know that I'm a Leo. I don't know what any of the other astrological signs are, to be honest with you, but I know that I'm a Leo. So what I would do is I would look on the African zodiac. So what's the corresponding African zodiac sign to a Leo? So then you tell me what is your sign and what does it mean? So in the African zodiac, in your culture's African zodiac, what does that particular sign mean? So just like with a Leo, it has different characteristics and stuff that's been attached to it, which again, I don't believe at all in. So that I actually don't know. So then how well do you think this matches you? So if it does, provide some insight on how. So if it doesn't, look through all the other symbols. So look through the other African zodiac signs and pick out one that you think better represents you, and then tell me why. So the type of presentation to do here is entirely up to you. I'm not asking you anything. So I've at this point presented you with a lot of different presentation options, so you can just choose whichever one you like best on this. So I found it to be interesting when I was reading up and researching this, when I was creating this lesson. So I never in my life, again, I didn't think anything about African astrology. So I didn't honestly, like if you had asked me, do other cultures have different constellations? I would have said, yeah, but it's not something that I ever thought about until I started researching this. And then the exit ticket is just to upload your presentation. So we're going to upload it into the assignment tab. So if you go into the assignment tab here, you can just upload it there. Turn that in. So that's what we have today.